Hello, soul friends. The angel message today is about love. The world, the new 5G Earth, has dramatically shifted. And we are leaving the third dimensional consciousness, the egoic perspective behind. This is very obvious to me from a collective perspective and also individually, and an inner work perspective. It's hard for me to make this video this evening because I've received some very painful news. That was quite a shock. But my angels have encouraged me to reach out to all of you and to share this message. The first thing they said to me was, there's no shame in vulnerability. The truth is, I've never believed that there was. Even though society tries to tell me that I should apologize if I cry, or if I'm hurting, I should pack that away and put it away. So many of us struggle because we don't feel we're allowed to be our organic selves with whatever is going on with us in this moment in time. We're afraid that if we take off our masks and actually share our true fears, our insecurities, our anger, whatever misjudged emotion is happening, that we'll be judged and we'll be criticized and we'll be ridiculed and we'll be humiliated. And Spirit assures me that from God's perspective, that's just not true. There's no shame in being human. And even though we are evolving past the very dense, physical, third-dimensional human beings that we were in that old paradigm, it's still part of the process here of life, of growth, of maturing, to go through the contrasting negative experiences. I'm sure you could agree with me that you wouldn't be as empathic or compassionate or sincere of a person if you had not have felt the entire spectrum, the range of emotions that we go through as human beings. Anytime a client bursts into tears and gets emotional, which is 99% of the time with my work, because people usually come to me when things are really, really at crisis point. And when I hear them say, I'm so sorry for crying, or I'm sorry for blubbering, or whatever, I immediately correct that and soothe that, because why would you apologize for being your natural self, being present with yourself, being conscious of your emotional state? There should never be an apology for that. I remember when my dad transitioned, when he died, I made no apologies for how I expressed and experienced my grief. I remember bursting into tears in the middle of Tesco buying my groceries because his song came on the radio. I didn't care who saw me. I was just being honest. I was being present with myself. I remember refusing to go. I was doing a college course, and I remember refusing to participate much in the classes because I was just so down and missing my dad so much. I wasn't mean about it or rude. I politely declined when I was asked to get up and do my presentation. I just said no, because I didn't feel like doing a presentation. I wanted to be present with my grief. I let myself feel anything and everything that I needed to feel in missing my dad. And I think that's why my grief journey was every bit as beautiful as it was terrifying and upsetting, because I let the entire journey of losing him, which I realized I wasn't actually losing him at all, but I let the entire process of grieving wash over me like a tsunami wave. And I think that's why I came full circle with it and felt intense healing and incredible connection with him, and still do to this very day. He comes and visits me from time to time. I had some people comment on how could I be dealing with it so well? But I think that's because I let myself not deal with it well. I let myself be vulnerable. I was open to the pain. I let it take me to my knees. I let myself feel the depth of his love, of my love, of the whole interactive experience of from my birth to his death. I let myself feel the loss of losing myself, a part of me that dies with him, because when somebody you love transitions, really your grief is for the part of you that's connected to them, that's gone with them. They take that part with them. And I think that's why I came so full circle and experienced the magnificent beauty in the grief journey as well as the pain. I'm doing the same now. I'm allowing myself to be completely open and vulnerable to the intense pain that I'm currently in. I'm not trying to control it, manipulate it, fix it, force it. I'm just present in it. I'm going through it. There are no shortcuts. True, complete healing. It's like a story. You can't skip the chapters and get to the ending. You have to go through the story. You have to be patient and kind with yourself as the story unfolds beneath your feet. Grief feels like the end of the world when you really sit in it. But the truth is, it's the start of a new way of being in the world. Using the example of my father, the girl I was when he was on the earth is I'm a different person now. And acceptance and embracing that was part of the healing. when we lose somebody, it doesn't matter how we lose them. Maybe it's through death. Maybe it's through distance. Maybe it's a breakup. Maybe it's through illness. Whatever grief, it doesn't matter how the grief is there. Whatever you're grieving, whatever you're missing, whatever loss you're experiencing right now, it's the same journey. It is a complete experience unto itself. And part of healing it is knowing that you are forever changed from that experience. That having that person in your world and now missing that person or situation, whatever you're grieving, the ego wants to change that. It wants to go back to how things were. It wants to cling to the past. It wants to never change. But the soul loves change. And that's why we age. That's why we grow. That's why we evolve and mature, because the soul just absolutely adores the changing perspective. Because change brings expansion. And whether you remember or not, your soul heard the call to be here on earth and was so excited about the expansion that was ahead. So the sooner you make peace with the shock of your loss, when the shock has settled in, it's best to begin the journey of going through all the rainbow, the spectrum of emotions and feelings that are going to come up. You'll be very tempted by the ego to distract yourself. And distractions for a wee while here and there are fine. It gets us through moment to moment, day to day. However, if you're using distractions such as extreme distractions of alcohol or drugs or sex, or you know what I'm talking about, things that just are going to have absolutely zilch benefit to you in the long term, take this as a message from your angels to put that down, refocus, and come back into the present moment with yourself. I know this from being an energy therapist, and I know this from my own personal life experiences, and believe me, I've had plenty loss in my life. We all have. It's so much wiser to clear the energy. If you don't go through it and come out that tunnel into the light, if you don't do that now or in the present and be conscious of that journey, you're only going to have to do it later, honey. You're only going to have to do it a year from now, 5 years from now. Sometimes I have clients come to me who didn't grieve and it's 20 years on. And it's as fresh as it was 20 years ago. And that's because they ran away. They ran away from the journey. They ran away from being present with their pain. Pain is a change agent. It's the great growth teacher. Don't run away from your pain. I'm not saying exaggerated or